Hey everyone, it's your boy, it's Matt, and in today's video we will be doing another Dark Magician deck roast, okay? So, first of all, you might be thinking, alright, so this is the Dark Magician deck profile officially put out post Battle of Chaos by a channel called Team Forbidden, alright? So I know some of you might be thinking, who the hell is Team Forbidden? I've never heard of this channel. I've never heard of these people. Well, they are a smaller Yu-Gi-Oh YouTube channel. They do make a lot of content. I do enjoy and am entertained by a number of videos that they put out. And yeah, I like these guys. Being a big channel is not the only requirement for receiving a deck roast. Like no matter how big your channel is, if you put out a shitty Dark Magician deck, you will be roasted. Doesn't matter how big or small your channel is. So I am an equal opportunity roaster of Dark Magician deck lists. I do not discriminate, be it big or small. So yeah, I like these guys, so that's why I really felt like I needed to make this video roasting them. Also, in the Dark Magician deck roasting market right now, Lulza definitely has the biggest chunk of this market. He has not done a roasting video for Team Forbidden, and I doubt he ever will. But knowing that he subscribes to me, follows everything I do, and likes to copy me or whatever, he'll probably make one eventually. But anyway, I digress. So yeah, hopefully this will be the first time you see a roast for this deck list. Without further ado, let's get into it. Okay, so this is a pretty cool intro, not gonna lie. I like this intro. Damn, look at this intro. I need to get me an intro for my Yu-Gi-Oh channel. I think that's how I'm gonna make it to the upper ranks of the famous Yu-Gi YouTubers, having crazy cool intros like this one.
Hey everyone, thank you for tuning in to Team Forbidden's YouTube page again.
All right, before we continue with this, I just want to say WTF. All right. So what do we have here? Just by looking at this at my screen right now, I see I'm guessing on the right here is his main deck where he has, I don't know, like ancient Egyptian tabloid, the one from the anime, right? That Ishizu showed Kaiba, like the fated battle between the Pharaoh and Seto, right, with Dark Magician Blue Eyes. So apparently there's a really sick looking sleeve version of that, right? So these sleeves are black and red, which is always a great color combination, with this really sick looking, appearing to be holographic art. Yo, these are some sick sleeves. Like, forget your Dark Magician deck profile. Just make a video telling me where you got these sleeves. Because I think I want these sleeves. These are so nice. And of course, the extra deck has... Oh, I always forget this girl's name from the anime. She's from 5Ds. I don't know. She's the other really hot anime like waifu from the anime. But yeah, I can see this guy is also a fellow degenerate. So yeah, definitely tell me more about where you got these sleeves. And then of course, both of these decks appear to be on a felt playmat. That also has the same girl in a less seductive pose. Yeah, I want to know where you got this mat. Like, I don't care about your take on Dark Magician post-Battle Chaos. All I care about is where did you get these sleeves? How can I get them? And this playmat that you appear to be playing on. I want to know about it. But yeah, I just felt like I had to say this because yeah, first I'm blown away by this crazy cool intro and these sleeves that you have and this playmat. Yeah. What follows is a disappointing Dark Magician profile, so...
It is Andrew the Collector here. So let me tell you a bit of a story real quick. Today I'm doing a Dark Magician deck profile, which is something I have not done in pretty much years.
Yeah, so yeah, this guy is according to him, an avid Dark Magician player. There's other people on his channel that might like Blue Eyes, might like Harpies, like whatever. He's the Dark Magician guy of this channel, of this Team Forbidden channel.
Mainly because of the price. Build, or there is just anything.
Yeah, Dark Magician is an expensive deck, but that's what you get, for building the best deck. You have to spend a lot of money.
Any other things that prevented me from doing so came out. It's built the deck correctly. This pretty much made it financially impossible, at least for me, to build the deck correctly.
That's the first fact check that I'm going to do of this video. He said, oh, financially you can finally build the deck correctly. Except he does not build a deck correctly. That is the first big red flag that I have.
Then Magician Souls got reprinted, and the new support came out, so here we are. So I'm going to give you my own take on this deck because, kind of like Scott with his Blue Eyes, this is probably one of my favorite decks of all time. It just hasn't gotten the support I guess it deserved up until now.
Dark Magician still requires a lot of support. Illusion of Chaos was a step in the right direction and a much needed card, but there's still a lot of support that Dark Magician would like to have. But yes, we have recently gotten some pretty decent support that was much needed, but there's still a lot of work to be done.
So just before we get into it, I want to let you know that it's not 100% complete. There are some cards missing, but when we get to those, I'll go over them. And
Yeah, I did notice this in the videos, like he's missing a few cards. It's like, dude, why are you making the video? Like, just wait till your cards come in and then make the video. Like, what's the rush, right? I guess some content creators really just have to have their pipeline of videos where they have put out a bunch of videos, right? Whatever.
and just explain. All right, so for our three ofs is obviously Dark Magician.
Obviously, for our three ofs, obviously, it's three Dark Magicians. I love how people, whether big YouTuber or small YouTuber, whenever they do this, it's like they feel the need to just preface it, like, of course, like, obviously. Like, can you even conceive of a deck profile, a Dark Magician deck profile, that does not contain three Dark Magicians? You would be crazy to even think of it, right? This is like gaslighting at its finest. Alright, that was a little mean. Like, he's not gaslighting. But come on, like, this is...
I mean, it's Dark Magician in a Dark Magician deck.
See, this is the logic they always use. Well, it's Dark Magician in a Dark Magician deck. Obviously, you would have three, right? Like, there's no other possible explanation or, like, way to play. Obviously. You just have to have three, right? It's like, Eldritch, you have to have three Golden Lords, right? Like, Fluanderies, you have to have three M-Pens, right? Like, how else would you play it? There's no other possible way of playing this deck, right?
I honestly don't think you can run any less than three.
Fewer than three. Not less than three, fewer than three. But also, what do you mean you honestly can't think of a way to run fewer than three? Like, this is... alright, like, me, Lalza, a lot of people from the Dark Magician community, like, we get so triggered when people just, like, throw down three Dark Magicians, like, you can't possibly run less than three. Yo, this is a vanilla monster. It is a brick. You do not, like, this card belongs in your deck or in your graveyard, not in your hand, right? Which means you don't want to see you don't want three of them, because that means you're very, very likely to see one or even more in your hand, which would be a disaster, right? Unless you had, like, other cards that would make it not a brick, like Secrets of Dark Magic, Eternal Soul, etc., right?
Some people opt to run only two in the build.
Some people, who are these some people who opt to run two? Like, I want you to name names, right? Because maybe you should start listening to these people, and other people who are watching your channel should also be listening to these people. Name names, all right?
I can see their reason, but
can you? If you can see the reason, please explain what this reason is.
honestly, I think the build is best when you have three.
It is not best when you have three. This is fake news, misinformation. I just can't get over it. Like, in my last YouTube roast, I played the Triff video. There's a new Triff video that I'm saving for a later time that would also apply to this scenario right here. But yeah, this is
Because it's like running a Blue Eyes deck without three Blue Eyes.
actually a number of Blue Eyes players who have had success have been running two Blue Eyes, and it's been fine, right? Like,
And it just...
and I would even say running three Blue Eyes is better. Why? Because there are cards like Trade-In where you literally, like, throw away your Blue Eyes to draw cards, right? Again, and even, like, think about it. In those decks where you have Blue Eyes White Dragon, right? Like, especially when you have, like, another card like Alternative, yeah, you do want to see one in your hand so you can free summon Alternative Dragon, right? You do want one in your hand so you can trade in, right? But again, it's like most of the time they want the Blue Eyes in the deck or in the graveyard. They don't really want them in their hand. Even so, they want one in their hand max, right?
doesn't... If anything, it just doesn't feel right to...
It doesn't feel right, right? It doesn't. I mean, Yugi only runs one Dark Magician, right? Why does it not feel right to run fewer than three, right? I don't get it.
not have three Dark Magician.
I will never ever understand people who think this way. I like at least give me a solid logical reason for this, right? Other than just oh, it just doesn't feel right. Like oh, obviously it's the name. The name of the deck is Dark Magician, therefore you should be running like 3 Dark Magicians, right?
Now, probably one of the most important monsters in the deck is 3 Magician's Rod. This guy
So this is correct. 3 Magician's Rod is correct.
is your main search. Is one of your main searchers now, I should say. When he is normal summoned, you can either search out a Dark Magician or a spell and trap that specifically lists him in his name.
Okay, that is misinformation. Magician's Rod cannot search Dark Magician. Magician's Rod can only search spells and traps that include Dark Magician in its text, not in its name, in its text, right? And I believe he's confusing the effect of Rod with the effect of Dark Magical Circle, which is like, come on, man, like you claim to be the Dark Magician expert of your channel, the avid Dark Magician fan of your channel. You should know these things.
And we'll get to why that's important when the cards come up, but no less than 3.
No fewer than 3. And actually, now that we have Illusion of Chaos, I do know some people in the Dark Magician community who are running 2. And I'll talk about that in my deck profile video. But yeah, so now that we have Illusion of Chaos, because this card is way more accessible via that route, fewer than 3, and by fewer than 3 I mean 2, could work, right? But I still advocate for 3.
Now, off to the spine of the deck is Magician's Souls.
I wouldn't say Magician's Souls is the spine of the deck. I would say Magician's Souls is the soul of the deck.
This plus Magician's Rod is basically full combo. So what Magician's Rod is that you can...
I know he accidentally said Magician's Rod instead of Magician's Souls. That's okay. I don't fault him for that. I make that mistake too.
Send up to 2 spell or trap cards from your hand effect, or higher, summon this card, or you can send this card to the graveyard and special summon 1 Dark Magician or Dark Magician Girl from your graveyard. A lot of the times you're going to use it to summon Magician Souls out, because mainly you want to use it for its cost effect to so Girl from your deck to your graveyard. So yeah, I'm so glad it got reprinted and I can finally have it in.
So he mentions that you might most want to summon itself so that you can use his draw effect. I mean, you do want his draw effect. Sometimes you want to summon Dark Magician for other purposes, but he doesn't mention using the fact that it's an effect monster and can go into Anaconda, which is not good. That's not a good sign.
In my Dark Magician deck, because worst case you can use it to go into a Verte Anaconda.
Worst case? What? What do you mean worst case? Best case, this freaking card goes into Anaconda. What are you talking about?
If you wish.
That's literally the best case. Like, the worst case is this card does nothing. It just goes on the field. That is the worst case. And maybe you can go into a Link Kuriboh and try to stall out the game. But, like, yeah, that is not the worst case. Actually, no. Worst case, this goes on the board. You send 2 cards from your hand for cost to try to draw 2, and then you get Ashed or Veilered or Imperm. That's the worst case, right? Worst case is not going to Anaconda. That is the best fucking case for Magician's Souls, right?
Now, for one of the new cards, probably one of the best searchers, if not the best searcher for this deck.
It is the best searcher.
Is Illusion of Chaos.
If it gets ashed, the card is still in your hand, you'll just use it next turn.
It is a ritual monster of all things, and its main effect is that you can reveal it in your hand and either search out a Dark Magician.
So 3 of is a good ratio. I prefer 2 of, but 3 of is perfectly reasonable. And the reason 2 or 3, either one works, is because Preparation of Rites exists. I'll go into that more later in my post-battle chaos profile whenever that comes out.
Or a monster that
soon, TM.
That specifically lists Dark Magician in its name. So it's basically
not in its name, in its text, right? Like description as well.
Like Magician's Rod, only for monsters. So you could basically search out your Magician's Souls or even Rod itself if you want. And then after you search out the card, you have to return a card from your hand back to your deck. So
top of the deck, very important.
So it also helps with unbricking your hand.
That is true.
Too, basically. But its on-field effect isn't really relevant for this because you really don't have any ways to get it out except for the quick play, but you use that for the fusion summon anyway. And I'll be sure to get that in the works for you. Dragon. This is what Timaeus should have been in the fucking first place.
So two Timaeus. I'm not really sure why he's running two here. I mean, yeah, its effect is hard once per turn, so maybe he wants to draw one, but not, and then leave the other one in his deck. But like, if it's searchable off Illusion of Chaos, just make it at one. If you want to see it as often as possible, make it at three, right? I mean, I guess he wants to see it, not necessarily search it off Illusion. I don't know. Two just seems like a random ratio. Like, why not just one, right? So he's saying this is the card Timaeus should have been. Arguably, I would say Eye of Timaeus, like the spell, should have been searchable off Rod. If Eye of Timaeus was searchable off Rod, that means that Rod and Souls will get you Dragoon without Anaconda and without any hand trap other than Ash to stop it, right? So yeah, it's I wouldn't say like this is originally how Timaeus should have been. Like, it's a monster that's searchable. Sure, like maybe he's talking about the fact that it's searchable, but honestly, Eye of Timaeus should have been searchable off of Soul Servant and Rod, and unfortunately, it is not. But if it was, it would be a lot better card.
A monster instead of a spell, and it's searchable. That's probably my biggest pet peeve with the first one is that it wasn't searchable by.
Yeah, the biggest travesty is Eye of Timaeus not being searchable. Like that is the fact that Konami has not eroded that over all these years blows my mind, right? It really like how have they not noticed this or like thought about this?
Rod.
Like they made a new card. Like I'm sure they made this dragon in the first place because they realized that Eye of Timaeus is not searchable, and they're like, well, let's give them a searchable version of Eye of Timaeus. But again, the fact that it's a monster makes it worse than it being a spell because this monster can the fusion can be stopped using Veil or Imperm, right? Or even like just Gamma. Whereas a spell is a lot harder to negate.
This one, however, is searchable by Illusion of Chaos, which is great.
And Soul Servant.
So it has two great effects, is that it has an inherent special summon to where you can send a spellcaster monster you control or a spell and trap that from your hand or graveyard or from your hand or field that specifically lists Dark Magician in its name can fusion summon a fusion monster that uses Dark Magician by using materials on your field or in your hand, including himself. So we'll get.
I actually don't think that you require. If you read the card during your main phase, you can fusion summon one fusion monster from your extra deck using fusion materials from your hand or field, including a spellcaster monster. So it does not require Dark Magician to fuse as a fusion material. So yeah, you can theoretically fuse this card and like Magician's Rod into Mysterion, for example. So that is a slight little mistake on his part. I mean, I don't blame him because like the original Eye of Timaeus specifically lists like Dark Magician, like you have to right. So
To that when we get to the extra is the perfect ratio, because a lot of the times if this gets off to play only.
Oh, he's gonna talk about the perfect ratio here.
One, I think two is the perfect ratio, because a lot of the times if this gets stopped, you don't really have a lot of recoverability with your extra deck at least.
What does that mean if it gets stopped? If it gets Veil or Impermed, then it's still on the field. You can, assuming it lives until the next turn, you can use its effect again, or attempt to. If it gets destroyed, like even if you have the other copy in hand, like it's a hard once per turn named effect. Like you can't like this doesn't make any sense, right? What do you mean if it's stopped? Also, if it gets destroyed and it's in your graveyard, Soul Servant can put it on top of your deck and then you can draw it. So I don't know. Like I still don't see why two is the perfect ratio here.
Three.
Especially since you just said it's searchable off Illusion and Chaos, right?
Might be a little bit cloggy, but it's up to your preference on which you prefer. But I prefer two, at least for now. And then only.
I hope you drop it down to one.
Only one of Apprentice Illusion Magician.
Oh, two Timaeus, but one Apprentice. Like, what?
I do not have Dark Magician Girl with me, unfortunately. That's one of the cards I'm missing. I tried looking for one, but none of the vendors I've been going to have had a Dark Magician Girl, believe it or not. So I ordered a bunch of cards of this deck online, but they're taking their sweet time to get here. But I want to get you this profile out as quickly as possible.
Again, what's the rush, right?
If anything, she's a good searcher. Another way to get to your Dark Magician faster. But when Dark Magician.
I mean, the fact that she searches Dark Magician is the least interesting thing about this card. The two most interesting things is one, during battle phase, during the damage step, you can increase Dragoon or Dark Magician, any of your Dark Spellcasters attack by 2,000. So it's as like a quick play hand trap. So, it cannot be countered by Call by the Grave, by the way. Um, and yeah, the other cool thing about her is she's a easy to summon body that can go into Anaconda. That's it. Like the fact that it searches Dark Magician is nice. Like it helps you neg less. Like because you have to discard a card to search her, and then she searches another card, so she doesn't neg you if she gets you that Dark Magician. But like you're still adding a brick to your hand, which may not be useful. But yeah, the main two things is like the hand trap, the 2,000 attack boost plus the free body.
Girl comes out, I'm going to replace her with Dark Magician Girl.
But why? Like, why not have both her and Dark Magician Girl? Take out one of your Timaeus and put in Dark Magician Girl, right? I don't see why. Like, she's perfectly fine, like as a one of, right? I don't see why you have to replace her, but not your second Timaeus.
Because Dark Magician Girl before wasn't as good. Now with Magician Souls, Illusion of Chaos, and everything else, basically, plus Timaeus himself, she's a lot more viable.
I wouldn't say Illusion of Chaos and Timaeus are why you run Dark Magician Girl. Like, yeah, Magician Souls has been around for a while. That's one reason you want to run Dark Magician Girl. You can send her to the graveyard where she belongs. But the main reason is Soul Servant, buddy. Like, you draw 2 cards off Soul Servant. Like, that's the biggest reason you run Dark Magician Girl. I mean, it helps that, Magician Salvation revives her every time you special summon a Dark Magician. That's a nice bonus as well. But he doesn't mention any of these interactions.
And then the last monsters of the deck are 2 Effect Veiler.
You know my feeling about hand traps. Like, I'm not gonna shit on him for running 2 Effect Veilers. I think Effect Veiler is a solid hand trap, especially in the current meta. I don't think it does enough, but it's fine, and it's a spellcaster, right? It's a light spellcaster, so perfectly reasonable. And it can enable Halki Fibrax into access code plays as well, which he never talks about.
Because it works with their new fusion monster because it's a light and it's.
Yeah, so Master of Chaos can send this monster to the graveyard to banish the field.
It's a good hand trap. You can.
Yeah, fine.
Replace it with any.
You could also fuse it with Secrets of Dark Magic.
Any other hand traps that you prefer?
I wouldn't say any other hand traps. Like, I think Veiler, if you're gonna run a Dark Magician deck and you want to run a hand trap, Veiler is pretty high up there as a main deck option.
So yeah. Now after the spells.
Like, I would never replace Veiler with Ash in this deck. Like, or like a freaking Ghost Spell or whatever. Even Ghost Ogre. I'm not like, yeah, Ghost Ogre is good, but I don't think it's like better than Veiler, right?
3 Soul Servant. Yes, I'm proxying 1. This card, like Magician Souls before, was dummy expensive.
Yeah, it's like 40, 60 bucks or something. Luckily, we're gonna get a reprint in June, so hopefully a secret rare version will drive the price down.
And it's still dummy expensive. I'm still waiting on my 3rd copy, but yes, you need to run 3. Its effect is that.
Correct.
It's a quick play spell, so when it activates, you can take a Dark Magician or a card that specifically lists Dark Magician in its text and add it to the top of your deck. And while it's in your graveyard, you can.
Important to note, it can be added from that card can come from the graveyard, your deck, or your hand.
Banish it from the graveyard and draw cards equal to the number of Dark Magician Girls, or Oracle monsters in your graveyard. So.
Coal monsters? What are coal monsters?
If you have a Dark Magician Girl and a Dark Magician in your graveyard, you can banish this from your grave and then draw 2 cards. Or if you only have Dark Magician, you would only draw 1. And you can activate both effects in the same turn. So essentially, you in your graveyard, it's stupid broken, and you have to run it in any Dark Magician build that you go.
Agreed.
Definitely no less than 3.
No fewer than 3.
And
so one little caveat he forgot to mention: the draw effect is hard once per turn. The stack on top of your deck effect is not once per turn. Also, here it comes.
And 3 Dark Magic Circle.
Dark Magical Circle. 3 Dark Magical Circle. Here we go again.
Probably the second best spell card. A lot of people.
Second best spell card. What? What? Bruh. Second best spell card. All right, so he's implying that Soul Servant is the best spell card, which he's got a pretty good case for. Soul Servant is definitely one of the best, probably the best spell card in the deck. But Dark Magical is the second best spell card. Oh my goodness, dude, Upstart Goblin would be better than this card. One copy of Upstart Goblin would be better than this freaking card. He doesn't even run Upstart, right? Like, there's so many more spells that are better than this card, and he's saying this is the second best spell? What are you, high?
People say it's bricky to run at 3, but
Because it is.
As long as you have your Illusion of Chaos to unbreak your hand a lot of the times, it's not really much of an issue. But
Right, so Illusion of Chaos can unbrick one card from your hand, right? So if you have too many bricks in your hand, right, Illusion of Chaos can only unbrick one of them. So, like, I don't know, like, just because Illusion of Chaos can unbrick your hand partially, right, doesn't mean that you should run more and more bricks in your deck, right? Like, you should still try to decrease the number of bricks as much as possible, right? Because what if you don't have Illusion? Then you can't unbrick your hand, right? But, like, again, Illusion of Chaos helps unbricking, but that doesn't mean you should run more bricks. It just means that the bricks that we already run, like, and we should be running as few as possible, can be dealt with Illusion of Chaos.
you want to see this card like Soul Servant as soon as possible.
By itself, not really. But then again, if you want to see, there's potentially 9 ways to get to this card. 3 preparation rights can search, 3 Illusion of Chaos, which can search 3 Magician's Rod, which can search Dark Magical Circle, right? So if you had one of the copy of this in your deck, the fact that let's say you run 3 Rod, 3 Illusion of Chaos, 3 Prep, that's 10 copies of this card, buddy. Like, do you really need 2 more copies at this point? Like, no, you don't.
Because it's also your main one of your main forms of interruption.
It's only a form of interruption if you have Eternal Soul, or some way of bringing Dark Magician onto the field on your opponent's turn.
So it's
by itself, it does nothing.
So when you activate it, you look at the top 3 cards of your deck, and you add a Dark Magician or a spell or trap that specifically lists Dark Magician in its name.
In its text, not in its name.
And then once per turn, when a Dark Magician monster is normal or special summoned, you target a card your opponent controls and then banish it.
By the way, you might think, oh, why are you being so nitpicky? Oh, because Dark Magician Girl specifically has Dark Magician in its name, and you cannot add Dark Magician Girl off of this card. So, very important. It's not Dark Magician in its name, because otherwise you'd be able to add Dark Magician Girl. So, yeah, this you might say, oh, it's a nitpick, but important distinction.
And there's a lot of ways to get your Dark Magician out during your opponent's turn. It's really great.
A lot of ways. There's like one way, Eternal Soul. What do you mean a lot of ways?
2 Magician's Salvation and 1 Terraforming. Magician's Salvation is a field spell. When it's activated, you set 1 Eternal Soul.
See, all right. So I don't mind this because Terraforming is just a deck thinner, right? Like, I'm okay with running a Terraforming in your main deck. However, the fact that a Terraforming can search any field spell, like, okay, so if Magician's Salvation was a field spell that was so important that you wanted to Terraforming it, then you should run 3 Magician's Salvation plus Terraforming, right? But the fact that you're not, the fact that you're okay with only 2 Magician's Salvation and a Terraform means Magician's Salvation isn't that important to get, right? I mean, he doesn't really explain, or like, there's no reason that you need more than 1 of these, right? But then it begs the question, like, dude, this second Magician's Salvation can be a Mystic Mine. It can be a Secret Village of the Spellcasters, and your deck would be significantly better than it is now. Think about it, right? Terraforming is like a choose your own adventure. Choose the field spell of your choice, of your desires, for the current turn, for the current situation, right? Like, you want to, like, if you're running Terraforming, at least have more than 1 field spell option, because the 1 field spell you have isn't so, like, play starting that you absolutely have to see it as soon as possible, right? So this second Salvation should be either Mystic Mine or Secret Village of the Spellcasters. I would say Secret Village of the Spellcasters, but I don't know. I just think this is, like, weird, right? Like, why would you run 2 Salvation and 1 Terraforming? Either go 3 Salvation with Terraforming because you really, really want to see it for whatever reason, or 1 Salvation, 1 Terraforming, and then 1 other field spell, or another field, like a unique field spell, right?
We'll get to Eternal Soul in just a minute. And its second effect is that if you special summon a Magician Girl from
we already talked about
your graveyard, the opposite. If you special summon Dark Magician, you can special summon Dark Magician Girl.
Yeah.
You don't really use that often for its second effect.
True, but you can. Like, and if you do, it's very nice to have that extra body.
You mainly use it for its first effect, and then it's just fodder in case you want.
See, even he's saying that, like, it's mostly fodder. So why do you need 2 copies, right? Like, I don't know. It just seems silly.
Want to get rid of it for either Magician Souls or for Timaeus to get him out onto the field. But it's up to you. And then since our ritual monster...
Yeah, it's a good target to send a graveyard for Timaeus.
Monster is so important to get to. We run 2 Preparation of Rites.
I'll never understand this. Like, preparation of rites is not once per turn. If you open all 3 preparation of rites, you can use all 3 in the same turn. If you open all 3 of your Illusion of Chaos, you can only use one of them. Illusion of Chaos is a hard once per turn named effect.
You can run 3. I don't have a 3rd copy, so...
Oh, he doesn't have a 3rd copy. Okay, but he said you can run 3, but it's like you should never run fewer preps than your ritual monsters, in my opinion. Like in this case, because it's like, you know, it's a ritual monster with a hard once per turn effect. Like, why would you run fewer preps? Like, either run 3 preps with 3 illusion or 3 preps with fewer than 3 illusions, right? Like, there's no, I don't get why you would run 2 and 3 in this way.
So I'd probably take out 1 of the Salvation.
Also, like, any extra copies of prep, you can send to the graveyard for Magician's Souls draws, like, worst case. But, like, prep will always be useful.
For a 3rd copy if I had one. And then to our 1-of...
Hold on, what did he say?
I take out 1 of the Salvations for
okay.
a 3rd copy if I had one.
Okay, if he had a 3rd copy, he would remove 1 of the Magician's Salvations. Fine, that's fair.
And then to our 1-ofs, 1 Magical Eyes Fusion to reuse resources in our...
Okay, he's getting to the fusion spells.
Graveyard for fusion monsters. Secrets of Dark Magic, it's a quick play fusion spell, why wouldn't you? Illusion Magic.
Illusion Magic is not a fusion spell. But by the way, I don't know if you noticed in his the monster part of this deck, no Red Eyes Black Dragon, by the way. And as you can see here, where's your Red Eyes Fusion, buddy? You run Illusion Magic, but not Red Eyes Fusion.
I would actually take this out for the 3rd copy of Preparation of Rites.
Okay, so he'll keep the 2nd Salvation and swap this out for a 3rd prep. I mean, that's still an improvement.
I only have it in here as a placeholder for that, so yeah, just
at least call it a proxy. Come on.
Just replace this with whatever you wish.
Whatever you.
1 Dark Magic attack.
Oh god, here we go with the freaking Dark Magic attack. Oh, it's searchable, right?
I've actually not been seeing a lot of Dark Magician decks run this.
I wonder why you haven't seen a lot of Dark Magician cards run this. I wonder why.
And I honestly wonder if they're okay.
What? Dude, I wonder if you're okay, buddy. Like, alright, so the argument is Dark Magic attack is searchable off of Magician's Rod, it's searchable off Soul Servant, it clears their back row. Why would you not run this card, right? I'll tell you why. Because to even use this card, you need to have a vanilla Dark Magician on your field. So it's not like, oh, you normal Rod, you search this, you play it. No, you normal Rod, you get Dark Magician on your field somehow, either Eternal Soul or Magician Souls, and then you can play this, right? It requires too much setup. Whereas, compare this to a card like Harpy's Feather Duster. Yeah, it's not searchable in a Dark Magician deck. We're not a Harpy's deck, but like, you have it in your hand, you play it. It doesn't matter what else is on your field. You just play it, right?
Because especially with the format now where Eldritch is running rampant, you definitely want to have this, and it's searchable. So
okay, so speaking as someone who plays Eldritch, there's so many ways to counter this. Solemn Judgments. You can Solemn Strike the search of it. You can like have Lord of Heavenly Prison, just completely ignore it. There's so many ways to counter Dark Magic attack. Like, if you want back row clear in the current format, Cosmic Cyclones evenly matched. That's it. Twin Twisters is no bueno. Harpies is no bueno. Lightning Storm is no bueno. Those are the main cards. Evenly matched Cosmic. Even Lightning Storm would be better because at least Lightning Storm gives you the option of destroying monsters, not just like back row, right? So yeah, this card is not good.
Why wouldn't you? And then 1 Call by the Grave, definitely want to have this, and it's searchable. So why wouldn't you?
Why wouldn't you? Because there's better cards you can have. That's why you wouldn't.
And then 1 Call by the Grave because it's Call by the Grave.
That's a very fair explanation. 1 Call by the Grave because it's Called by the Grave.
Or as the fool likes to call it, Begone Demon Child. Now off to the traps.
Alright, so he doesn't play Red Eyes Fusion. This is a big red flag. At least, dude, like, other deck profiles run 1. You should be running 3. Dude, how could you be playing stuff like Illusion Magic and Dark Magic Attack but not Red Eyes Fusion? Red Eyes Fusion gets us the best monster in our deck, Red Eyes Dark Dragoon. Now, granted, Timaeus does as well, but he doesn't even mention it. He talks about Timaeus. He doesn't need to say this card helps bring out the best monster in our deck, the Red Eyes Dark Dragoon. He doesn't even say that, right? Which is a big red flag.
The best trap in the deck, obviously, 3
Oh god.
Eternal Souls.
This is not the best trap in the deck. Like, The fact that this is the best trap in your deck means that you need better traps. It means that skill drain is not in this deck. Like if you don't watch the rest of the video, just the fact that he says this means that skill drain is not in this deck.
So what this card does is either
Yeah, it revives. I know you have 3 copies. That's way too many. Especially when you have 2 salvations and a terraforming. Like, why do you need so many? Like, you can literally get away with 1 copy.
special summon a Dark Magician.
It's searchable, right? Same argument as Dark Magical Circle.
From your hand, Dark Magician that you control are unaffected by card effects.
Yeah, which is cool.
And blow up. But its second once per turn effect is that you can either search 1,000 Knives or your Dark Magic attack.
You would never use the second effect because summoning Dark Magicians to the field is strictly better. Why? Because it gets you a body. It can make you go into link plays. It's a 2,500 beater. Like, there's so many reasons you would always use the first effect over the second. And also, like, you want to trigger Dark Magical Circle. Like, you would never actually use this to search Dark Magic attack, right? You're better off just using Rod to do that, or Soul Servant. But you shouldn't be running 1,000 Dark Magic attack or 1,000 Knives anyway.
So yeah, it's really good.
It's okay. Like, it's better than Dark Magical Circle. I wouldn't say it's really good, and it definitely should not be the best trap in your deck. Best trap in your deck should be something like Skill Drain or Torrential Tribute or something, right?
And it's settable by the field spell, so yes, you want to run 3.
No, you don't. You don't need 3.
Again, a lot of people like to run 2. I personally think that's incorrect.
You are personally incorrect.
I think 3 is just perfect. And here's something that people probably won't really agree with is...
Oh no.
2 Magician's Navigation.
Yeah, I do not. Yeah, this is a bad card.
Hear me out on this. It not only special summons Dark Magician
from your hand
and from your hand
and
another spellcaster from your deck, but it also has a spell and trap negation while in the graveyard.
Like, the spell trap negation is the best part of this card, and so if we had a way to easily send this card from the deck directly into the graveyard, right? And by that I mean like the 1 copy, not then it might be considered worth it. But dude, having 2 of these, like, where you have to set and then have a Dark Magician in your hand to even trigger, like, I don't know, this is...
True, it can't be done the same turn it's sent there, but it's going to be there. It's another interruption. I mean, play this at 1 even if you're that skeptical.
You should play this at 0.
But please, play Magician's Navigation at...
Don't. I used to play this card when I first started out because I didn't know any better. Yeah, this card is, like, not good.
Any amount that you believe.
Like, these 2 cards could be Solemn Strikes, and this deck would be better, right? Like, oh, it's an interruption on your opponent's turn. You know what else is an interruption on your opponent's turn? Solemn Strike, Solemn Judgment, Torrential Tribute, freaking Skill Drain, right? Like, again, it's all about opportunity cost. Because you have these mediocre cards in your deck, that means your deck does not have these much better cards.
And then 2, Solemn Warning, because I don't currently have Solemn Judgment.
Okay, so he's proxying Solemn Warning in place of Solemn Judgments. It's like I mean, Solemn Judgment is an old-ass card. How do you not have...
any extra Solemn Judgments with me? Put in Solemn Judgment.
Oh, I guess he doesn't want to re-sleeve from his other deck. Whatever.
Instead of this, I just have these as placeholders.
Fine. But, like, alright. Okay, so just this right here, the fact that he says he has 2 Solemn Judgments, like, that's already better than Eternal Soul, right? Like, Solemn Judgment can save you from an Access Code Talker summon, right? Like, it can save you from a lot of stuff. Save you from a Dark Ruler, can save you from so much, right? Eternal Soul cannot do any of those things.
Any extra Solemn Judgments with me? Put in Solemn Judgment. Instead of this, I just have these as placeholders. Now here's where things get a little tricky with the extra deck. This guy is your main go-to for the extra deck.
I love how we're 12 minutes into this video, right? He's talked about his main deck. He's talked about Timaeus. He's talked about Seeker's Dark Magic. He's talking about Magicalized Fusion. He's not once mentioned this card until now. It's like, yo, tell your viewers how some of these main deck monsters and things that you want will get you to this guy, right? Like, tell them this, please. Like the most he does is, like, he says under his Magician's Souls explanation, like, well, worst case scenario, Magician's Souls can become Verde Anaconda. Like worst case, right? I mean, he doesn't run Red Ice Fusion, so Verde can only send Magicalized, right? And I guess Magicalized can make this if you have a Timaeus already in the grave or a Imduk, right? But, like, it's mind-blowing how, like, the best monster in your deck isn't mentioned until 12 minutes in. And it's like, he just plops it down, and it's like a one of.
He is summonable by Timaeus
Okay, now he talks about how you summon him.
very easily. Yes, you only get one pop, but that's not the main reason why you run him.
Yeah, one pop is fine.
You run him for his protection and for his Omni negation and attack gain. The destruction is just the cherry on top.
True.
So,
Well, not destruction.
if you're running Dark Magician, you need to get a copy of this more so than I think than a full playset of Soul Servants.
I mean, you should really have both, right? Like, I don't say, oh, do I want to buy 3 Soul Servants or do I want to buy a Dark Dragoon? You want to buy all of them, like all of the above. You should. I mean, if you want to save money, like, don't buy two of the copies of Circle. Don't buy one Salvation, Salvation. Don't buy the 2 navigations. Like, there's other ways to save money in this deck that without cutting Soul Servant or Dragoon.
Because a lot of boards can't, or a lot of decks can't really out this today.
I mean, most meta decks have access code or some way, but sure.
So if you have to blow your entire extra deck budget, go for this guy first. I'm sorry.
Yeah, if you're building your extra deck, this is your number 1 priority, what you need to get. He's correct. But you should really be buying 2 of them. I mean, I know it's expensive, but, 2 is better than 1.
He is just that good. You can run the Red
And yet, he doesn't run the Red Ice Fusion package. He's about to talk about it.
Ice Fusion package if you want, because with Red Ice Black Dragon, he's not so much of a break anymore, especially with Illusion of Chaos. But yeah, definitely run this guy.
So he doesn't say why he doesn't run the Red Ice Fusion package. He just said, oh, the Red Ice Fusion package is even better now because Illusion of Chaos can unbrick your hand. Oh, if you draw Red Ice Black Dragon, Illusion of Chaos will send that bad boy back into your deck, right? Like, he just said, oh, it's even better now, but he doesn't say why he doesn't run it. He chooses to run 3 Dark Magical Circle, 3 Eternal Soul, 2 Salvation, but he doesn't say why he doesn't run, 2 Timaeus, but he doesn't say why he doesn't run the Red Ice Fusion package.
And you can run the new.
Oh my god, 3 copies of Master of Chaos. What is this?
New guy, Master of Chaos. I mean, he's really good. You can fusion.
He's decent.
Summon him by utilizing Dark Magician and the new Ritual Monster. And his effect is basically to clear your opponent's board by banishing them. Is
monsters only, not board. If it was the whole board, it would be a lot better. And
pretty sick.
It requires 2 tributes, by the way.
But I think only one of him would be fine because.
Yeah, I would say just run 1. Like the fact that you put down 3, are you just showing off the fact that you open your case or whatever and pulled 3 of them? Like, I don't know what the hell's going on here. Why would you put down 3 in a deck profile video?
Because he doesn't come up as often as, say, Dragoon does, or even
exactly
any of their other fusion monsters.
Like, run 3 Dragoon, 1 of this guy, you'll be better off. But you should run 2 Dragoon.
For example, a lot of their other fusion monsters, which I don't have, are like Amulet Dragon.
Oh no, Amulet Dragon. Amulet Dragon is a strictly worse Dark Magician, the Dragon Knight. Like, why would you ever mention that card's name in vain like that, dude? Like, Amulet Dragon. Like, yeah, Amulet Dragon is a Dark Magician fusion. That is correct, but it doesn't mean it is a fusion that you would ever run, because it does nothing.
Probably the second most important one under Dragoon would probably be Dark Magician, the Dragon Knight.
Okay, he at least acknowledges that Dark Magician Dragon Knight is the second best fusion. But the fact his go-to is Amulet Dragon, that's his example, like, crazy, yo. And how does he not own these cards if he's the Dark Magician guy of this channel?
Because not only is it treated as Dark Magician while it's on the.
At least say, oh, I'm proxying one with one of these Masters of Chaos is actually a Dragon Knight. Just say it's a proxy. Not even that, right?
Field or in the graveyard, but also has back row protection for your more important spell cards like Eternal Soul.
That's a trap, but sure.
Because while you have this and Dragon Master Knight on the field, they protect each other. This makes your Dragon Knight unaffected by card effects, and Dragon Knight hereby protects this from being destroyed, therefore.
Or targeted, so Cosmic Cyclone won't work either.
Or saving your monsters.
Only evenly matched can out it.
Essentially. It also protect your Dark Magical Circle, and since it's treated as Dark Magician in your graveyard, it's summonable by Eternal Soul.
Correct.
And
yet he doesn't say that he's proxying one.
You get, if you have Circle on the field, that's another interruption right there. So yeah, this is all I have, at least for now, for the extra deck. You can also put in.
Okay, so he just has 4 cards for the extra deck. I mean, he did say that the deck was incomplete, but it's like, dude, just complete your deck and then show us your profile, right? But also like, oh, I don't have all these other cards I want. I'm just gonna put in three Masters of Chaos. Like, at least say two of these are proxies. Like, come on.
Many rank sevens.
Also, like, hold on.
At least for now for the extra deck, you can also put in many rank sevens.
So he's just now gonna list like a bunch of cards you can put in, like as if there's no cards that you must put in, right? Or that you should put in.
That you want, like Red Eyes Flare Metal.
Oh, just put in whatever rank sevens. Oh, Red Eyes Flare Metal. Why not?
Endymion, I believe.
Endymion. There's a rank 7 Endymion?
The two other rank 7 spellcasters, Big Eye, Draco
I think he wants to say Ebon Illusion.
Sack.
Draco Sack? Okay, yeah. That's a possibility.
Put in generic links if you want.
Generic links like?
But it's completely optional of how you want to do the extra deck. If you want to make it more fusion based, seed based, or link based.
Okay, so I have a few problems with the way he talks about this, right? So he's like, oh, it's completely optional how you want to do your extra deck. Like, that implies that the extra deck isn't that important, and you can potentially run like Pot of Extravagance. Oh, it's completely optional. Like all this other stuff is optional. Like, then why not run like Pot of Extravagance, right? Like if all these other cards you're talking about, like oh, just optional. Like, oh, you can do a bunch of Exceeds, you can do like links. Like, no, dude. Like some of the extra deck monsters are very very important. You have a Dragoon, but you do not have Anaconda. Like that's
the main thing that you want to take away from Dark Magician is just the way that the main deck is built, because that's where most of your plays are going to come.
like Dark Magician deck is a deck that has a tight extra deck where every card matters, right? It's not one of those cards where I just put whatever in my extra deck, like Subterra, whatever I want in my extra deck, like Flaunderies, whatever I want in my extra deck. No, Dark Magician needs every slot of its extra deck for something useful, right? Like it's a tight extra deck. It's not one of those other decks that doesn't care. Like no, we care very much about our extra deck. Like our best monsters live in the extra deck.
Are going to come in.
Like Access Code lives in the extra deck. Dragoon lives in the extra deck, right? Even Quintet Magician is like, a really powerful monster lives in the extra deck.
Is in your main deck.
No, dude, it's not. Oh my god. Like if he was running 3 skill drains in his main deck, or even like in a side deck, like, but really it should be in the main deck, then yeah, you can say, forget all these extra deck monsters. All you need is like a 2500 beat stick, and you can just beat them over the head over and over with Dark Magician and skill drain, and they can't do anything about it. Then yeah, maybe I could buy that argument. But he doesn't even have skill drain in his main deck, right? So how could he say like, oh, the main deck is the main, you know, thing like part of? It's just I don't understand.
So yeah, I'm sorry I wasn't able to get you a full extra deck, but those are definitely the cards I would recommend that you pick up for it.
Like at least mention Artemis, Imduck, Link Spider. He doesn't mention any of these. Like just generic links. What is a generic link? Like the Nightmare Phoenix, Nightmare Unicorn package, like IP. Like what is a generic link, right?
But yeah,
and because even those Nightmare monsters are like suboptimal.
Guys, thank you so much for tuning in to this deck profile. I'm so sorry this came in so late.
Late, like Battle Chaos just came out. Like it's early, if anything, because you don't even have all the cards.
But I was waiting for things to get reprinted. I was waiting for the new support. But I can safely say,
dude, my Dark Magician deck profile is late because I'm like a Dark Magician like connoisseur, right? Like an enjoyer, right? My deck list is late, right? And some of you are still asking, oh, where's your Battle of Chaos list? It's coming. Don't worry. Mine is late. Yours is not late, buddy.
I finally was able to get you at least a coherent Dark Magician deck.
I wouldn't call it coherent.
Like I said, if you want to see a ritual build, comment down below.
No, please do not comment. We do not want to see a ritual build.
And I'll probably revamp this deck and reprofile it once all the support I ordered eventually comes in. So yeah, stay tuned for that.
Dude, all the cards you mentioned that are coming in, it's still not going to save your deck. It's going to marginally improve it, but it's not saving your deck.
And until then,
like when the first time I saw this profile, I noticed he did not have Dark Magician Girl, and I'm like, all right, this is already a big problem.
And we'll catch you guys later. See ya.
All right. So anyway, man, really, really disappointing. I could rant and roast and talk shit about other people making Dark Magician decks all day. And I will, right? I will be doing more deck roast, but man, that was just a painful one to watch, to sit through. Like, I don't, you didn't have a side deck. That's okay. Like side decks are, meta dependent, I suppose. But yeah, it's like, dude, we just got 3 skill drains back, and you won't even say to play skill drain. Like, I mean, it's an expensive card, sure, but it's, oh man, yeah, this is disappointing to say the least. So yeah, hope y'all enjoyed this deck roast. Don't worry, my Battle Chaos Dark Magician deck is coming. I'm waiting on some few more cards to come in. Yes, I already did my unboxing, but I'm getting some Starlights in the mail. All right, I want to show off my deck with Starlight rares. All right, so it looks as sexy and as awesome as possible, right? So that's why I'm delaying. Yes, I have the deck ready. I have my Illusion of Chaos. I have everything I need already, but I'm just waiting for some rarity upgrades. That's all. That's my only delay. So yeah, until then, enjoy some more videos from me, either deck roast and other things. But yeah, um, yeah. Anyway, yeah. So Team Forbidden, I hope you see this and like please watch some of my other content. Please watch other Dark Magician YouTubers. Lalza does a really good job. He's already put out his Battle Chaos build, right? So please, please learn. Like, it really feels like you haven't recently experienced playing Dark Magician. Like, yeah, this Dark Magician deck build might have been good in like 2017, maybe it might have been decent, but like not today. Like, there's so much you're missing here that just shows that you just haven't played the deck recently, right? Um, so yeah. Anyway, thank you all for watching, and yeah, see you on the next video. Peace.